Are you recording now?
Yeah, but just getting scenic shots.
Okay.
What's up? I'm Isaac.
I'm Brandon.
And this is BrainShake.
And today we have guest Enze Yang, also known as the Yangsta.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
He is...
I'm here.
Yeah, he's a Nova Scotian renowned MC.
Thank you, bro.
He's also host of Pirate Radio,
Yes.
CDKU. Check it out.
CKDU, actually.
CKDU.
It just shows that he don't listen. It's all good. It's all
Listen, I
good.
do listen sometimes. I've been on the show.
You have.
I have.
You should know that then, man.
It's
Crazy.
letters. Abbreviations mess me
This
up.
guy. Anyway, Monday nights, 7:30, ladies and gents.
Check it out.
So yeah, I guess what we're going to be talking about today is mostly about arts and how it kind of affects society. And
Yeah.
I guess what kind of got you, first of all, what kind of got you into rapping in the first place?
Oh boy, all right, story time. So when I was in the 9th grade, like my English teacher at the time, Mrs. Elmswood, I went to Astro Drive Junior High,
Right.
and she asked me to write a dress code rap for the school because like she knew that I really like love rap music, and that was during like my like trying to be Will Smith, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air phase, right? So like she knew that like, you know, if there was somebody to like do it, I was the one to do it.
Right.
So she was like, hey, can you write this dress code rap for me? So I did it, and then like they played that song like on the school announcements, and like she liked it a lot, and then like, you know, everybody liked it, so like then everybody just kept like putting it on the announcements every single Friday. So like that just like gave me the confidence to be like, oh
definitely
man.
boost your confidence.
Yeah,
That's
so I
awesome.
was like, oh man, you know, maybe I can do something with this.
Exactly.
So ever since then, you know, it's been on. So
That's
it's,
awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been writing raps for a while.
long,
I've seen.
yeah.
What's your process like when you started?
My process, first I go into the studio, you know, I whip out my software, FL Studio, that's
Okay.
the software I make beats in, and you know, I would make the beat first, and after getting the beat done, I would just like play it in the background and loop it indefinitely, and then I would just get, you know, a notepad out. Like a lot of rappers, like they write on their phones nowadays, but me, I just, you know, do the old school way,
Yeah.
get the pen and pad out, and I just like write bars. And like there's good bars and there's like whack ones. You
Yeah.
gotta get through the whack ones to get to the good ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
need that flow.
Yeah, so like, you know, I just keep writing, and then I just pick out the best bars, and I construct like my verses of 16 bars each, and you know, and then I go into the studio, I'll record it, and you know, it's all good.
It's crazy how similar that is to like script writing and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Or
like, I
writing
know-
poetry.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, it's you need that aesthetic. I feel like for some people it's different, but
Yeah.
generally that aesthetic is very important.
And sometimes I like to, you know, do a couple shots, you know, get a couple
Right.
drinks in me,
Yeah.
get the inspiration. Because, you know, when you're turned, you have a whole other perspective on things. So sometimes you just need that inspiration.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've written a fair number of poems while intoxicated.
Ciroc, ladies and gentlemen, you want to drink that? It's Puff Daddy's vodka, Ciroc. It's distilled French grapes 5 times.
But you don't need to drink to be a writer.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you just got to put the pen to the paper
Yeah,
and
exactly.
get out of your own way.
Yeah, I'm not endorsing
Oh, no,
alcoholism. You know, it's just not what I'm saying.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the drink
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
You know. Just keep it real. Keep it
Yeah.
real.
I mean-
Every once in a while, you know.
So let's get to know a little bit more about you
Okay.
and your beginnings. Do you want to talk maybe about your childhood a little bit?
Yeah. Okay, so I was born originally in China,
Okay.
in Fujian, in a province that's like near the East Coast, and I lived there until I was 8 years old, and then like my family and I, like we moved here, you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then like
That's
I just
crazy.
grew up here.
I didn't know that about you actually. I think you might have actually explained that.
Yeah. I think I said it in the car like the first day that we met.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but like nobody remembers the details anyway.
Of course.
so it's
Yeah.
like-
That's really cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, so I grew up here, and like I went to school here from like, you know, elementary to, you know, just the whole school education, and yeah, this is my background, and like, you know, we went through, of course, like the immigrant lifestyle. Like at first, you know, we
Right.
just didn't have much money, like we was real poor and stuff like that, and like the 3 of us, we lived in 1 bedroom. It's not even like a 1-bedroom apartment, just like
Right.
1 bedroom in somebody's house. like,
Jeez, that's
in
crazy.
Toronto, like just 3 of us. So, like luckily it was only like 1 month, you know. That was like the struggle period, like when we
Right.
first got
Right.
here. So like that was real bad. But like as a kid, I was like 8, so I didn't really like tune into like my whole situation.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't really register.
Yeah, like I didn't know I was that broke. I just knew that like, cause like I still had like food on the table to eat
Right.
and things like that, and I had like clothes on my back, you know. So like I wasn't really tripping off that. But at the same time, like I noticed like other kids, they were able to have like spending money to buy like popsicles and like,
Exactly.
candy and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But for me, like I just didn't have that. So like, you know,
Just the essentials.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did you experience any culture shock in the early days?
Yeah, at first, like I couldn't speak any English, and like I was placed in the back of the classroom because like in Toronto you get a lot of Chinese immigrants, right?
Right.
So for me, they were just like, oh, just another one, just another guy. So they just plopped me in the back of the room, and they were just like, good luck, and you know they just taught the class like
Wow.
that.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I did have a translator though.
Okay.
She was really cute. I had a little crush on her, but she wasn't with it, which is quite unfortunate. But you know, it's like you know, she really helped me out, but also kind of hindered my progress in a way because like she would talk to me in Chinese, and I would like use her as a crutch instead of like trying to learn.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like when I moved here, completely different story. Like, you know, the teacher sat me in the very front of the classroom, and like she knew that I was the shout outs to Mrs. Hemsworth, and she knew that like I was the one that needed the most help. So like, you know, everyone in the class kept an eye out like for me. You know what I'm saying? Things like that.
It's
So-
interesting.
There's
how
always
one teacher can make a huge
Exactly.
difference.
There's always that one difference maker. And, you know, I don't know if you know much of my background. I know Brandon does when it comes to schooling, but I definitely understand. In certain, not in the same way, of course, because I spoke English. I was, you know, it was easy for me. But like going through a learning style is so tough, and having a proctor and all these different people, it can be very overwhelming in that kind of way. So I definitely understand that kind of way.
It's
how
definitely important when
be
teachers recognize
tough.
the needs of different students,
Exactly.
whether it's a language barrier, a different learning style,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. Like I remember back in grade 6, I was always coming up with little businesses. I'd always get in trouble for it.
Well, some things never change. You know?
And looking back, I was like, you know, it would have been nice if the teachers maybe pointed me in the right direction with that kind of aspiration.
Well, being able to do things like this, I was actually from being encouraged from a teacher in high school to be able to do like a filming thing, like a little filming project. And of course, it didn't really go as well as planned, but that's having that experience allowed
It's like
me
a
to be able to
seed
do-
planted.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, I met
Teachers
Brandon, you know,
make a big difference.
viewers know the whole
Yeah.
story and all that stuff.
But I mean, me and Enze, like back in the day, I started this little writers circle called Scotia Circle.
Yes.
So shout out to Derek Stevenson for supervising and allowing that to happen. One of the greatest teachers I've had by
Yeah,
far.
for sure.
He really cares.
He always does this thing where he crosses his arms and goes.
Anyways, shout out to Derek Stevenson. But yeah, I mean, teachers can really make a big difference in an individual's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know this podcast is about the arts, but I
Of
think
course.
the arts is inevitably completely relevant to education.
Oh, exactly. Very much so.
Because, you know, I think oftentimes there's not always an emphasis on creativity, and creativity is not always encouraged in schools.
Exactly.
And so when you get those teachers that do encourage it, it can be a powerful thing.
Yeah, I mean, I had one teacher in specific that was very. He'd be the type of person that would jump on a desk and dance to teach something if he needed to, but he never needed to. That's the thing.
Right.
He was very. Shout out to Mr. Heyman, Drew Heyman. He's one of the pinnacle people in my life for changing my whole world upside down in the best way possible.
Right.
Being able to do things like this. So
What subject did he teach?
he taught film and video.
That makes sense.
He taught film and video. He also taught Canadian history. He taught various. A lot of them had to do with like political classes. But he was very interested in history, and he's just such a cool guy. Like he was into like superheroes, and he would just always talk to you as if like he was your friend in some kind of way.
Right.
You never felt like you were pressured to
You
do
weren't being
anything.
talked down to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big thing.
And that's what you need growing up.
And so I guess let's take this towards arts a little more.
Okay.
For sure.
And no, I love this
Yeah, of
discussion.
course.
I'm just thinking like, I wonder what could a school look like that really empowers people that have an artistic drive. What differences would that school be to the current system? I wonder.
Yeah, I guess.
What do you think that would look like in your
like
mind?
architecturally, or are you
No,
talking-
like I mean, like as far as how the classes are
So, like,
ordered, the
systematic.
structure of it, the
Yeah.
system of it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think there'll be like less hand holding and more like self exploration.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you do what feels right for you, and then like you just presented to the class, you
Yeah.
know, and people give their impression and interpretation of it. Like if it's whack, they'll tell you it's whack.
Yeah.
If it's not whack, they'll let you know. And then, you
Yeah.
know, you just gauge where you're at based on that. You know what I
I
mean?
like that.
I think,
self-directed learning.
I think that's important. I think like schools like Bridgeway, like I know it's it's not like an artistic school by any means. It's not meant to be that way, but that's what they were kind of about, was self-exploration and kind of doing things in your own way, to be able to learn in your own way. And I think for schools that would be more art spaces, it would very much be like free flow.
What things with Bridgeway do you think they did to empower students that maybe doesn't happen as much in the public education
The fact that
system?
the most important thing that I learned from and they used me as a success story because of how many, and there were many people that were there that had so many more success stories than I. But the most important thing that I learned was your learning style does not define you. You are not a learning disability.
Right.
Learning disability as a whole doesn't even make sense as a term,
Right.
because you are not a disability. What you have is not a disability. You can still do the thing that you can't seem to learn right now. It's just the fact that you have a weird learning style, or something may not work for you. And whether it be you have to write a book while laying on the floor,
Right.
or something even as crazy as that, you know.
I always use my
change.
laptop on the floor. Like I
Yeah.
can't sit down. I have to like lie down with my feet kicked up.
And being
Yeah.
able to do things like that at Bridgeway really changed the whole outlet of and learning how to advocate too. Realizing that you are a human being, and the actually getting into Bridgeway, you have to be a normal IQ. You can't be below. They don't normally accept people that have high that can't function in school in any kind of way majorly.
But doesn't that kind of contradict their philosophy of like accepting every single type?
That's
of
the thing, though.
At face value, it does sound like that, but I'm sure there's an explanation.
There's an explanation. You have to. That means you have to be You have to be to the point where you can't even express to human beings. You have to be the point where you can't even have a learning system.
Gotcha.
To be able
It's
to be
like-
there. There are many people that there are people that have cerebral palsy, to people that have Down syndrome that are allowed to be there, to people that have various different learning styles, and of course going into Down and all that stuff. It's tough, but
So it sounds like it's a school, you know. Obviously, they can only accept so many people because they have
of course,
limited capacity,
and it's a
and so
nonprofit school.
they're targeted
right?
towards people that just need some extra assistance
Mhm.
in some kind of way,
And-
or just a different approach to learning.
But there's the thing is it's multifaceted. They have multiple programs. It's not just for one population. It's for all populations in some kind of way. And Bridgeway is trying to expand to be able to get to the point where they have learning systems where they can help every single human being,
Right.
no matter what their skills.
But
And
they have to start
they're getting
somewhere.
there, of
Yeah.
course. But and
That's
they've
cool.
come a long way. But I think, especially like for math and all that stuff too, it's so difficult.
Now that we're talking about that a little bit, what can an artist like? I feel like artists in a way can inform society and help society self-reflect. And I'm not saying that has to be every artist's role, but I think that tends to be, you know, the most successful artists really do kind of stand out as people that have had the opportunity to make us really look at ourselves a little bit deeper and try to understand ourselves in a way maybe we haven't understood before.
Very much so.
I wonder, you know, what kind of issues and things coming up in the future do you think artists really need to address to help society kind of comprehend and prepare for them? I mean, for example, I would say I think artists have a huge role in helping us kind of deal with the ethics of new technologies and artificial intelligence, nanotech, biotech. And I think it's important that we have artists not only to help educate people on these different topics, but to help us reflect and see the right path forward and how we use these things. And do you have any thoughts on any particular issues that stand out to you that artists can really play a big role in helping us address?
Okay. Well, okay, I'm going to use another rap music reference here. So like the group NWA, you know, has been like referred to as like the CNN of the ghetto, right?
Right.
So basically like what they do, they talk about like the social justice issues faced by, you know, like young black people and just like black people in general, and like, you know, the racism and like police brutality and things like that.
Right.
You know, they just bring that to the forefront to an audience that usually wouldn't even know about these things and wouldn't be exposed to these things, right? Which is like the middle class, like suburban people, right?
Right.
So what they do is kind of like, it's like a informational sort of, it's like a documentary, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like
cool.
you see on TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the play by play of like their experiences and like their lives, you know. So they become like a voice for these people. So like in a way it becomes more than just a piece of art, you know.
Right.
It is something that like people can refer to. It's like, oh look at this, you know, this is our situation right now.
It can be a form of real
like,
change and social activism.
Yeah, it's like, you know, what are you guys gonna do about it? This is the situation, what are you guys gonna do?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how art can improve upon society, you know,
Yeah.
in that way.
I think to emphasize more on what Enze was saying too is taking things more seriously. I think the one thing that we need to address, like in any type of art form, is you need to take people more seriously, as if, because people see arts as a lot of the time as not a real job or something that is you're not going to be it's a failing.
There's a stigma
thing, you know?
with it.
There's a major
certain
stigma.
societies. Certain societies embrace it, especially in the past. But you know, when you have a society that's a lot of it's based on capital.
Yeah.
Art isn't always about capital, and it's often not about making money.
Yeah.
But if you're living in a society where you need to make money to live, that's a delicate balance that an artist has to determine where the line gets drawn, because you have to be able to survive as an artist to be able to be a part of society. And it's like, where is that balance? What role does government play in making sure that artists can thrive?
But I also don't really like how people say, oh, you're just an art student. You don't get taken seriously as much as a person that's in science, because if we didn't have arts, we wouldn't have science.
Oh, exactly.
If we didn't have science, we wouldn't have education. We didn't have all these different things. They all correlate.
Yep.
So they're just as important as the next thing.
Well, I think arts not only helps people comprehend and understand the sciences, the arts is something that led to the sciences.
Yeah, and it allows people to think creatively.
Yeah.
You know why there's such a negative bias about the arts? Like, and this is some real talk.
Yeah.
It's because people think the arts is just a way for like crazy people to justify their crazy ideas and action.
Yeah,
right.
And I mean, it could be that way in certain ways, but I think generally that's not at all how it is.
But that is a stigma that exists,
Yeah.
and it comes back to this quote. I might not get it exactly right, but it's no measure of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society, right? And so I think the artist, maybe, you know, there's a little bit of neurosis sometimes involved, and there's sometimes different quirks, and usually, not always, I mean, but oftentimes the artists that stand out the most are the people that do look at the world differently and see things differently. Exactly. And because of that, they give us an angle to look at ourselves and each other, kind of like a peephole to a new world, a new way of seeing things.
Exactly.
And that's how we push things forward. And I think that can inform science, that can inform how we treat each other as human beings, it can inform government. Because I think art, I mean, it's a really broad subject, but artists in general, whether it's a rapper, a poet, a filmmaker, these are the people that help us to dig deeper into the issues that we care about.
Right.
And in a very amazing way, because it can reach out to multiple audiences in such a cool way, like video games, for example, film, or various different things. They talk about, like, there are so many underlying symbolisms in these things that some people, it goes over their head, but some people, they get it.
Yeah.
And they talk about so many real things within just some piece of art or like a cartoon, you know?
Right.
It's
And
crazy.
there's like no other way to articulate it as well as
Exactly.
So, Hi, Nick. What's Doors Open Halifax about?
Doors Open, it's a weekend-long event, both Saturday and Sunday, where different venues across Halifax, this year there was 36, they open their doors for free to the public to go in, see the venue. Some are roam around, some are guided tours like the Government House itself. Basically sort of a way for people from the city, outside the city, to actually see venues that they may not normally get to see.
Do you think artificial intelligence could take over the world?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Can I get your names, please?
I'm Lady Wentworth.
I'm Lord John Wentworth.
Okay.
But you can call us Fanny and John.
I'm the 18th Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia.
Oh, right on. Very charismatic, you two.
Thank you.
So can you tell us about like what you're wearing? You know, like the
Yeah.
time period, and no background.
Well, hopefully the time is 1807.
Yes.
The house was just finished being built. We moved in here 2 years ago, just nice and outside of the city. Fresh ocean breezes, no loud rabble.
Yes, and John's coat, he's a
Surveyor General,
Surveyor General in Nova Scotia. And
distributing the Crown lands.
Yes, it's very good for going out in the woods, so he keeps nice and warm and no bugs.
Yes.
And this is my gown, which I had made for
Yes,
me
lovely
by a
gown.
lovely lady in Halifax. And my hair is of the era as well.
And I left my wig on my last surveying trip, so I don't have any wigs with me now.
All right. So since you guys are from way back when, what are your opinions on like phones and apps and the new technology today?
Oh my goodness, people have been taking pictures of us all day, and photographs when we were here. You had to take about half an hour to take a picture. So
Frowned, you stood, you waited. It was
And
not an
waited.
enjoyable experience.
yes, so now people just come up and take a picture right away, and it's
Happened
lovely.
so fast.
Yes.
Have you taken a selfie yet?
Oh, we took one selfie
One
this
person
morning.
told us about a selfie.
Yes.
I'd never heard, so I didn't know what was happening.
It was very funny. We didn't understand that they could take a picture looking at us. So, oh, are we taking one now?
Okay. No, they told me to do this. Can I do
Yes.
this?
And do this with your mouth. Just
Oh, I'll do
okay.
the face and you do the
Yes,
hands.
okay.
perfect. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
One more question. If you could time travel to any period in time, when would you time travel to?
Well, we are time traveling because we're from 1800 and we're currently in 2017.
that's a good point.
Is it currently?
I believe so, yes.
I think
Happy
so.
280th birthday, dear.
Thank you, darling.
When all took place. Look at this drive. We use this building for smaller messenger ceremonies.
Can I get your name, please?
Craig Walkington.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isaac.
Isaac, pleased to meet you, Isaac.
Nice to meet you. I guess first question is, what inspired you to get into this type of role or pursue this type of career path?
Well, my previous career was with the Navy,
Okay.
and in 2010 I was involved with the Royal Tour
nice.
by the Queen, and so I became quite involved with the planning for that, and got to know the private secretary. And when this position of communications advisor opened, I jumped at it because it's right up my alley.
Awesome. Thank you very much. If you, I guess next question, if you could have a definition of what consciousness is, what would it be? I know it's a very weird question, but
Definition of consciousness.
yeah, to you, what is consciousness?
Being aware of not only your physical environment, but the emotional environment that exists around you.
Nice. And the last question is, if the world was your audience right now, what advice could you give to people? What would be your best advice that you could give?
Love each other.
Love each other. Awesome.
Because if you love each other, you're not trying to kill each other.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you
Thanks.
so
Thanks,
much.
Isaac. Okay.
Have a great day. I think, as a whole, I think we generally just need to be more accepting. That's a major, of course, like that's the easiest thing that we could think of. But I think that is one of the bigger problems that lead to everything else, is the huge stigma that's around it, is not accepting people that are artists, and not accepting people that want to create something or do something different. And people are afraid of that too. They're afraid of things.
It comes back to, a lot of people think if you get an arts degree, it's hard to find a job.
Exactly.
And there's some truth to that. I mean, I don't think it's as true as people think it is. But there is some truth to that. But at the end of the day, just because our society rewards certain degrees over others doesn't mean the other degrees are any less valuable. Or better yet, let's take degrees and university out of the picture. Right. One career path isn't better than the other because it leads to more money. Because if we went in that trail of thought, basically bankers and CEOs and these types of people would be the most important people in society. And they definitely have a role to play, or maybe they don't. I think that's arguable. But at the end of the day, just because an artist is making $37,000 a year, their art isn't necessarily any less important for society and humanity and for their community. I think art is kind of a huge part of what builds a community and builds connections and makes people closer. And it extends empathy to other people.
If you even look at music, music is so broad. Like rap, you have like art house music, you have all these different...
We could go on for days.
Like even years of like how much music has been important throughout the centuries. And some people may not like rap, some people may not like different
country music,
or
whatever.
Anything like that. But it's still there, and there's still a venue for it. There's still something out there for it, which means that it's still just as important. And I think at the end of the day, like to emphasize what you were saying, taking away any type of money or anything like that, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have the drive for something, it doesn't matter how hard it is to get there. You will get there if you want it that bad.
Oh, it's possible. I mean, obviously, there's certain, circumstances where someone might just get completely screwed over by life circumstances.
But that doesn't mean that they can't try.
But the only way you're going to get somewhere is if you give it your best, and that's definitely true.
Being positive.
Some people have more barriers than others, and that's another thing that art can help us realize. It can help us realize that different people have different levels of privilege, different levels of opportunity that other people don't have. And that's why I think it's really important as an artist to try to be conscious of those different things in life, because at the end of the day, especially if you're an artist who really wants to comment on society and comment on environmentalism or whatever the big issues are of the day, it's good to be conscious of all of these things that affect how people live, to try to, because I think, at least in my opinion, why I write poetry, why I do this, why I do BrainShake at all, to me it all comes down to empathy and trying to spread empathy. Because the more we understand each other, the more we're able to uplift each other and empower each other. And right now our world is kind of seeming to be more and more polarized at a time where it's absolutely vital for us to come together. And it's scary because, I mean, what does a government do when it's worried about perception, or it's worried about how... Here's the thing. Want to know why artists are actually so powerful and have such an important role in society?
Why?
What do dictators do when they get into power? They shut down the press and they shut down the arts. They target the arts. They remove funding from the arts. Because at the end of the day, the arts are what keeps them in check. The journalism and the press is what keeps them in check. And so if they can shrink that or make the press and the artists look like the enemy, then it kind of to their followers, they lose trust in these things, right? And that's not to say artists and the press are perfect. By far, we are not. Artists are not. Press is not. No one's perfect, and every system has its flaws. Every form of expression has its flaws. But I guess what I'm saying is, artists have a really important role in society to play that I don't think people realize how important that role is sometimes.
We just dove deep right there.
Well, that's what we do here on BrainShake, right? But I mean, when it comes down to it, what do you want to see, I guess, as the guest here? What do you want to see as far as a change in arts? What do you want to see happen as far as society in that kind of way? That's a broad question.
It's a very broad question.
But I guess I'll let you think of that pretty much. But what do you want to see art change in society right now?
Just like the way that like children are like brought up. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, like when a child goes through like the stages of adolescence and then into young adulthood, if they get really passionate into like the arts, some parents will go, no, don't do that. Like this, it's not the right way to go, right? You know what I'm saying? So just like encourage that, and just cultivate, all the kids that have artistic abilities, you know, and just really like sit down and try to listen and try to appreciate and try to like, you know, and just watch their progress and like their work. You know what I'm saying? Because too many times I feel like, you know, parents and guardians are dismissive of, you know, the artistic works of their kids because of that stigma. You know what I'm saying? Like they just look at it through just this lens of, oh, that's never going to make any money.
Yeah.
You know, you're never going to be as big as LL Cool J, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's something that like, you know, once we remove that lens and really see the value and the worth and, you know, the work that, you know, these kids create, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know, not saying that their creative works will always be just the shit and dope.
Exactly. No,
sometimes it's whack and you have to tell them when it's whack.
But sometimes it's good for them though. It's good for growing up.
It's good for health and well-being. I mean, to be able to express oneself, it can do wonders for mental health and physical health, because I mean they're interconnected.
Yeah.
And to be able to learn how to express your needs in some kind of way, that helps make you a better communicator.
And that's another part of it. Like if art is crucial to your child's happiness, is creating art is crucial to their happiness, then you should just let them do their thing.
Exactly.
You know.
I think it also goes both ways too. Sometimes you have the parents that'll be like, yeah, we'll let our kids be creative and all that stuff. But then when they grow older and things get more real and society comes in, they're just like, yeah, no, that's not real. That's not, you know, it's...
Right, they're in like their own bubble for too long.
Yeah, and I think that's great to have that childhood thing growing up and all that stuff. But even if you're an adult, you're still growing.
Right.
And you still need that barrier of saying, it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
It's fine to go through with this. And if you fail and you feel like you don't want to do it anymore,
then no.
That's your choice. Yeah. But going through that first step, that is so important. And I think my family has always been really good with it.
Yeah.
You know, my brothers, they went through the 2 arts degrees.
Right.
And you know, they didn't do as well as they wanted to. You know, but now one of my brothers is a guitar seller at you know, along the way. My brother was he went into accounting. He worked really hard to be an accountant, and then he got into Deloitte, and he just decided that it wasn't for him. And that was a tough decision. And you know, my parents didn't want him to go that, and that they just want to see him succeed, and that's okay. But he's so much happier where he is, and I could tell.
Yeah.
And that may not be considered to some people that may be a way lower end job than being an accountant, but the wealth, there's more to wealth than just money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think life's not linear. I mean, you can go one path and then do a completely 180-degree turn, because at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes you just have to go a certain path to realize it's not for you. Or whether that's go to university to realize it's not for you and leave university and pursue other things. That's kind of what I've done. Or whether it's pursue, you know, the arts and then realize that's not for you and then go to university. I mean, life is never linear, and if it is linear, in my opinion, it's change is good. Because change opens doors to allow you to find new interests and learn things about yourself that you never knew.
And I want to see, I guess what I want to see when it comes to arts changing something in society is people trying new things.
Yeah.
You know, like that's art as a whole, or in creativity, has gotten me to try some pretty wild things that I never thought that I would try, like being able to go and film or go on trips and stuff like that and meet new people. It's taken me further than a lot of things in life.
It makes your life an adventure, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we all have times where we get really depressed and we have that really hard moment, but creativity, things like BrainShake, has gotten me out of the deepest and darkest holes that I've had. You know, I've had moments where it's just like I don't want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
But then I realize I have something to work on. I don't have an excuse anymore to say, I'm not doing this.
Right. Because like a purpose greater than yourself.
Exactly.
So something bigger than ourselves. And that's what art does for me as well. My poetry, BrainShake, these creative things in my life give my life meaning. They give me purpose. And that's why I think, you know, and sure, there's certain people who maybe art isn't really in their lives, but I'm sure if they looked a little deeper, they would realize it really is. Whether it's the paintings that furnish your home, whether it's the TV show you watch.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and in places you wouldn't even expect.
Yeah.
And it's what separates us from robots. It's the reason, you know, art, that creativity, that that spontaneity, that, you know, that is what makes us human. And the logic and the science, that stuff makes us human too. But they both do. Not, and one's not superior to the other. They're both interconnected in so many ways. And in the future, you know, we're looking at a world where automation is going to replace the majority of jobs, and maybe other jobs will pop up. But there's a good chance, and this is just my opinion, that there won't be enough jobs for all of the people that exist. And so what do you do in a society like that? Well, then think ideas like universal basic income come up. Maybe everyone should benefit from technological revolution. Why should only some people benefit? And then, you know, maybe we can kind of distribute wealth in a way where people will have the free time to explore the arts or explore whatever their interests may be. And, you know, talking about the future, it can be a little freaky to think about all these new technologies, and it can be intimidating, but there is an opportunity for us to use these technologies to give us more freedom, to allow us to take the arts to heights that we've never even imagined possible. Imagine projecting a movie onto the surface of the moon, you know, on a night with a full moon. Like, imagine what we could do. What we could do if, you know, machines were able to replace the labor. And I like I say, it's a scary thought, but if it's done right, that could open everybody up to be able to explore themselves and the world in new ways.
Well, even if you look at it this way, everything that we create as human beings is to connect. It's crying out for a connection and for creativity. And even this and going through, for example, space, like astronauts in space. When they're in a shitty time and they're having, like, they don't know what to do, they're going to they could very well die from the situation. What do? They think creatively. They create a spoon out of a piece of wood. And this is all in a very short amount of time. And humans are more creative than we think as a whole.
And where's that creativity? I mean, who knows when it first started? You know, we started using tools, and, you know, we have bipedal or bipedalism, right? Opposable thumbs. You know, it's these little subtle things in our biological makeup that enable us to be creators, to take a tool, cut down a tree, or, you know, turn a rock into the end of a spear. And I mean, obviously that's just the very early stage stuff, but the accumulation of these technologies kind of bubble up. And what I mean by that is, let's say you start with 2 technologies, those 2 combined can make 5 more things. And then those 5 combined can make 20 more things. And as technology grows and expands, more possibilities arise.
Exactly.
At least that's always been the case up until this point. So what's the future look like if possibilities as far as inventions go are constantly expanding? I mean, who knows what the future is going to look like? But I don't want that future to be a place without the arts, because then then what's the point of it all? It's just technological advancements. You know, maybe we can get energy from the sun and this and that and explore the galaxy or whatever the case. But what's it? At the end of the day, if we don't have arts, I feel like, to me, you know, that world is a very dark world. It's not. It's a dystopia.
I don't think the arts is ever going to die, though.
I hope not.
That's the thing. Like, as long as there are people, you know what I'm saying, we're going to be, like, craving whatever stimuli that gets us to feel good.
Exactly.
Like, for example, if we look at a painting, it's like, oh, that's a dope painting. It makes me feel some type of way. It takes me to another world, you know, that is away from the harsh realities of what I'm living in. Or, you know, oh, this song's great, you know, like, I'm working out, it motivates me to go harder. You know, as long as, you know, there are people that are going to be feeling these works of art's always going to exist.
It almost relates to a whole mind over matter thing too. Like what we were talking in the podcast that never surfaced, but
we don't talk about that.
No, but like even you know, at Get Air, for example, when you just said a simple creative phrase, mind over matter, when I was trying to balance at Get Air, which is a trampoline park that has like a whole bunch of you know, circuits and stuff.
Get
for
Air.
People that don't know,
gotta go check that out.
Yeah, and it's a cool place. And through that whole creative phrase, instantly I was better.
It's interesting you say that, because I think that's what music does for me. If I'm going through a tough time, a song can get me through that tough time. It can keep me balanced. And, you know,
YouTube.com/theyangster7.
that's the beauty of the arts. That's the beauty of rap. That's the beauty of music. The beauty of a painting is it can help you kind of escape from the narrow focus of everything is shit and expand to the possibilities of everything is beautiful and there's all this possibility in the world. And the arts help us see that. And you know, in some ways, the first technology and the first art are both language. Language is like, there's a theory that we started chanting before we started speaking to each other.
Okay.
Like chanting and like singing, kind of.
Oh, it's like I do a grunt and then you do the same grunt that I do.
Like an ape tribe, maybe they're trying to scare away the other apes from their area to say, we're here, stay away. But now we can make that chanting, we're here, come hang out, let's be together.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's
that's we turned the chant into a corny chant. You know,
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Like, it all started with, you know, chanting and grunts and evolved into everything we see today. The Industrial Revolution, Mozart, all of this stuff started with a group of people caring about each other and a tribe, and then expanding outward. And then next thing you know, the tribe turns into a city-state, a village, a city-state, and a nation. And now we can see ourselves as a globe.
everything is an elaborate chant. You know, this is what's going on here.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think language, the arts, all technology, this stuff is meant to bring us closer together.
Yeah, it's all a cry out for connection.
But we have to make that happen. We have to foster that.
We can't be afraid anymore. That's just generally that's.
Fear.
If someone wants to do something, they should be allowed to do it.
Fear divides us.
If the answer, if you want to do, let's say you have two choices over something, going to school or pursuing an arts degree or whatever it is, if there is something that is a harder choice, for example, like going into an arts degree, and someone doesn't want you to do that.
Right.
If the answer is yes, that you want to do it for 1 second, 1 millisecond even, you have to go for it. You can't.
If in your heart of hearts, that's what you want.
Yeah,
because you're going to regret it for the rest of your life.
Exactly. You'll ask yourself, what if something happened?
What helps
you
me,
won't have an answer.
What helps me make the important decisions in my life is I picture myself as an old man on my deathbed looking back at my life, and I imagine looking back on one decision versus the other, and which one, when I'm that old, and which one do I regret, and which one am I proud? I'm proud of the one where I tried and maybe even failed over the one where I played it safe.
Exactly.
I do that too. I do that all the time.
And it's a good way to reflect.
Yeah.
And I mean, we probably got to wrap it up.
Yes, we do.
Whoa, that was perfect timing.
I just sensed it. I was like, we're going to run out of time. Well, I mean, thanks for watching. It's been a great talking to you, and we've had some lively discussions.
It's great to be here. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for watching this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Make sure to like and share with your friends. At the end of the day, if you enjoyed watching this, the biggest help to help us get our content out there is just to share.
It's a better message, you know? It's just trying to help people.
So if you have love for BrainShake and what we're trying to do here, just give us a share. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, and like the Facebook page.
Like the Facebook page.
So whenever they post, you get a notification.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
And like Pirate Radio on Facebook.
Yes,
definitely.
Like the Youngsters.
It's spelled P-Y-R-A-T-E. Pirate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you know how rappers they spell things different. To be cool. So yeah, it's P-Y-R-A-T.
Yeah, and thank you to Volta also again for this space. It's
definitely
for sure.
It's been so great to be able to have this venue.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on BrainShake. Just finished up the podcast.
We did.
How do you feel? What word comes to your mind right now?
Growth. I felt like after being a part of this, I have a clear sense of where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? These dudes, they really, they're like my hype men, you know what I'm saying, for this whole thing. And they really gave me, you know what I'm saying, the positive affirmation that I needed to keep pushing with this rap thing. So make sure you check me out. My business cards, I just ordered them in the mail, so they're going to be coming soon. So if you see me in person, you're going to get another Youngster Asian Rapper business card.
2 questions.
Yes.
What's your biggest fear right now?
My biggest fear is farting in an elevator full of people. And what's question number 2?
What's your biggest hope and dream for the future?
I want to be a super famous rapper like Kanye West, but you know, I don't want like a hobo-looking, you know, clothing line. I want like a fresh, cool clothing line. Probably like with dragons or phoenixes and shit, because like I'm Asian, right? So you know, like maybe sweatpants with like dragon trims.
What's your biggest fear for humanity right now?
For humanity, we lose touch with our sense, like you know, our ability to empathize, things like that.
What's your biggest hope and aspiration for humanity right now?
For everybody to be happy, cut out jealousy and envy and stuff like that. And you know, if you're prosperous, spread the love and don't hate on other people that are prosperous, because you know they put the work in. There's a reason why they're at where they're at. So you know, you just put the work in yourself, because everybody is a king and queen in their own right. Awesome. Yeah.
Like not the movie, but the
All right, can you guys? I'm just testing the lighting. Can you raise your hands like this and say, "What's up"?
What's up? How is that lighting though? How is it saying what's up?
Yeah, he's just being.
Fuck off, Brandon.
He's such a cock.
He's exercising his dominance.
That's gonna be an
It's the
intro.
blazer.
That's gonna be the intro. I'm just gonna have you guys go, "What's up?" Oh fuck! All right, let's jump right into it because the battery's getting low and I don't have a charger.
Yeah, come on, let's get this.
All right. So
You gonna flip the screen around though?
Oh yeah.
yeah, geez, Brandon.
Didn't know you guys were narcissists.
You're still
You want to look at yourselves.
terrible human being.
Check yourselves
Yeah,
out.
we got some sexy motherfuckers though. Okay.
In 1995, then Prime Minister Jean Chrétien hosted the G7 summit, and he used Government House for various meetings, and some of these meetings took place in this room. So President Bill